Let's chat about the current state of the TCG industry and what's going on in the future. Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day today. I want to talk about the current state of various TCGs. We're going to go through kind of my thoughts as a game store on various TCGs that you may hear us talk about on the channel. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. We're also going to talk about the season that we're entering in with a lot of the stuff going on. So let's get right on to it and let's chat about Magic the Gathering. Magic seems to be doing okay. I would say this year has been a much bigger success than some of the more recent years in the past. Wilds of Eldraine was this past weekend, and it was a fantastic pre-release. Numbers at all the local stores around me, including my own though, were lower than on our last release, which was Lord of the Rings, which is kind of obvious. But even before that, March of Machine, I feel like our numbers were a little bit stronger. But we also had pre-release right when everybody goes back to school and that kind of stuff. We still had like 25, 26 people at pre-release. Just typically our numbers like 35. So, but the excitement level for the set was super good. Even on Labor Day, we had a bunch of people coming in and playing. We had 20 people in the store playing Sealed and playing Draft and doing everything. And it seems like the Wilds of Eldraine set has really captured a lot of people's imaginations, and they really enjoy the set and the mechanics, which is huge for Wilds. So we have some huge sets, some amazing stuff. Wilds was super good. You've got Lord of the Rings that was super good. Commander Masters was a really good set, but the price point just didn't stick, but you're starting to see the market pick back up on it a little bit. It's never going to get to like, the point where like at distro cost stores are making money, but it's still a good set and people actually liked it. And now the question I have for Magic is, how do you continue what is a pretty good momentum, maybe with a little road bump in Commander Masters? How do you keep that momentum into the end of the year with two sets that are just, I don't know, they're just not that exciting? Doctor Who, I know, comment section, you're gonna go nuts. There's a lot of diehard Doctor Who fans. I just don't think that the Doctor Who IP has the reach that something like Lord of the Rings had. And so the question is, like, how many boxes do they make? If they cut down the print run of Doctor Who's set and they make it, not as huge of a run, then I think Doctor Who can actually do pretty well. It can be great for the fans. I just don't think you're going to have the excitement for the Doctor Who set that any other typical Magic set usually gets from your typical Magic fans. Locally, we haven't had hardly any people really that interested in it, but it's interesting to see people who are huge fans in the comment section. And then like Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Ixalan is a great set. I love it. I love dinosaurs. But Ixalan last time was also not super good. And I'm questioning what they are going to bring into Ixalan to help make it really stick. And so I'm a little bit worried about that set as a standard set. Other than that, there's not like a whole lot going on. Everything is kind of pushed towards next year, which is very exciting. But this back end of this season of 2023, I think is going to be a little bit interesting for Magic the Gathering. And I want to talk about another thing in the whole collectible market that I think will impact Magic the Gathering, because I know there's a lot of people who are just going to click away after I talk about Magic the Gathering, and that is student loan debt. Student loans have been on deferment. For those of you who have student loans, you haven't had to make any payments for 3 years because of the pandemic, and now all that stuff's coming back. So a typical household all of a sudden has another bill to pay, and I think that is going to greatly cut into spending on hobbies like collectible card games, at least for the interim, as people get used to having to pay that out of their daily life again. And so I think that that's going to cause quite a bit of a burst in the collectible industry, where people are just not going to be able to spend as much. And so you may see downticks in singles, you may see more and more people selling some of their collection, that just the extra stuff that they've acquired and accumulated over the last 3 years. And now they feel like, oh man, the pressure's on to kind of get money back out of that stuff. So I think that's going to put a lot of downwards pressure on the entire industry. I wanted to mention that based on Magic as well. In this window, it's kind of a weird spot. Who's going to be able to pick up a $300 box when you have to also be paying $700, $800 on student loans? It's just going to be another thing. So, all right, let's move on to Pokemon. Pokemon's in a weird spot. This Scarlet and Violet era is, the pull rates are way, in my opinion, the pull rates are way too easy. People for Obsidian Flames, it was like the mega rare, super rare Charizard was about one in every case. Every 6 boxes pulled one. That's the pull rate on it. And when you have a set like that, and a collector market that really goes after the collecting, they like the chase. When the chase is too easy, it kind of doesn't feel as good, and it takes people away from it. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, I got everything I needed in a couple boxes, and they weren't excited about that. They wanted to experience the set for a longer period of time. They wanted to keep, opening boxes and going through it. And so I think that that's going to be an interesting dynamic for this Scarlet and Violet era. Can they change that around? Now, I think that the cards look really good. I think the print quality has been pretty good. I think from those of the people who play the game, they're really enjoying, like, our Pokemon community is growing. We had like 16 people at our Pokemon event this Sunday. And people are really enjoying the meta and the sets, and they're having fun playing the game. I think the collector side of it just feels like it's too easy to get stuff, and the print runs are insane. They have boxes available all the time. So it's very interesting. I, though, have zero fear when it comes to Pokemon. It seems like, so 2 years ago, I bought for me at the time, quite a large position of Chilling Reign. It was like 50 boxes or something like that. And I remember being made fun of by some other people on the channel that, like, that box will never be back, that box will never make money. And now the box is $150, and like I have 4 of them left. And so the Pokemon market, when things look really bad, usually it picks up because, like, Pokemon's so big that it's gaining so many fans that if you aren't currently collecting Pokemon, in 2 years when you come back and you're like, oh man, that set looks awesome, you go back and you start collecting it. And so it just has this ecosystem that constantly brings back old product and brings it up. So I'm not worried about that stuff, but from a storing perspective, that is just dead inventory for quite a while as well. So there are some different things you can do with it. That's not the point of the video. The point of the video, though, is to say, as this market goes down and as those sets get older, there is a time to start trying to pick some of those up, especially when you see stores fire selling at $80 a box, $85 a box. I start thinking about picking them up because distro price is close to $100 a box. So at that point, it seems like a pretty solid buy because I do think that there are buyers on the other hand that are pretty significant in the future. So I don't know, Pokemon seems fine. Vintage Pokemon, that's definitely a dip. I think a lot of that stuff is continuing to go into the student loan problem. And then just the interest level of stuff it just seems down right now through the summer. Now, some of that stuff does pick back up in the Christmas holiday season. So I will be looking in vintage Pokemon at that to kind of track that metric. I do have a lot of vintage Pokemon. I love vintage Pokemon, but I missed out on picking up some things. I wanted to pick up a PSA 8 base set Blastoise first edition, and that I remember that being down to like $1,900. I didn't pick one up, and last I saw on eBay, they're like $2,800 now. So there was an opportunity for a lot of that stuff that a lot of people probably missed out on the vintage side. All right, let's talk about Lorcana. Lorcana it's crazy. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me how expensive these boxes are selling when you also have the company on the other end saying, hey, we are going to print this to oblivion. We are going to print enough supply. Now, I tend to think that some of those people who are, if you are investing in a $300, $500, $400 box, you are saying that Ravensburg won't make as much as they can, or they aren't able to make as much as they want to, because what they are saying is we want to make a lot more to sustain the market. And if you're buying at $300 a box, I believe what you're saying is you don't believe that Ravensburg will be able to produce that much product. I don't know. Listen, Wave 2 was supposed to come out last week, according to Distro, and we didn't get any. And we don't know exactly what's going on. This week was Labor Day, everything. I don't know exactly what's going on this week. The anticipation is that there will be a large restock for Wave 2 and that will come to the market. Now, I personally think a lot of that's already been pre-sold, already gone. I mean, I know locally, I know my numbers of what I'm getting for Wave 2, so we've been selling locally as like pre-sale and that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff's already gone. I don't think Wave 2 is going to sustain the demand, which is incredible for this product. Now, I thought that Ravensburg was going to print way too much product. I didn't realize how little product that they were going to be printing. Man, the demand for this thing is insane. They need to, in my opinion, they need to get more boxes on the market so that people can actually fall in love with the game and not just fall in love with the idea of the game. There's a lot of hype right now. People are in love with the idea of a Disney Pokemon trading card game, right? Like a Disney collectible trading card game. The idea of it, people are in love with, but will they actually fall in love with the game? Will they actually fall in love with the cards? That's the question I have. I think the answer is yes, as people locally have picked it up and people have really enjoyed it. But on a mass scale, people need to get boxes in their hand in order to do that. And then on the back end of this as a collectible, I have a lot of questions in terms of, how do you collect a box that's not sealed? You just can't, right? Like you can't do that. It's not sealed. You can take the packs out of it. There's zero protection to that. So I would like to see, and I wonder if the delay doesn't have something to do with trying to get shrink wrap on those boxes. I would like to see maybe into 2024 that we see boxes come out that do have the shrink wrap. And at that point, those boxes are going to be incredibly collectible as they will be the first ones that have that shrink wrap. I do not think this first wave of them without the shrink wrap though is a collectible thing. And I hope that a lot of kids are able to get involved with this stuff. Listen, if this game is going to last, it needs that nostalgia of just the cards too, and kids need to be able to get it, right? Like you need to be able to build that ecosystem like Pokemon did with, cards that were worthless 20 years ago, 25 years ago, those cards were worthless and kids played with them and we built that nostalgia for the game, and Lorcana needs that. They need that. They need kids playing. They need the whole thing, families playing, but game super fun. It is an enjoyable experience. The store, from a store perspective, it's been highly utilized. Our Thursday night Lorcana events, people have been showing up to play. They're excited about it. We had one Friday where it was supposed to be a Magic event, but everybody brought Lorcana instead, and they just wanted to play Lorcana, so we had to basically beg people to draft. So it's good. It's a good, fun thing. I just hope they can get the supply they need to sustain the demand, and the task that they have chosen to overcome as a company is massive, and they need to get the supply out to do that. So Sorcery, we just talked about the beta delay, very frustrating, but it's also very frustrating that this set beta is going to come out in this time, just like I said, with the student loan debt, Christmas, holiday season, expenses, and all that stuff. It's going to be interesting how the beta market holds up to that and how the beta supply, interacts with that. We've seen a lot of the big stores like Team Covenant and myself sell out of boxes, or at least I think they had a bunch of boxes up. Anyway, but a lot of the stores who were putting pre-orders up, selling out of boxes, that shows an extreme demand for the product. Obviously, when Rudy does videos and stuff like that, he's saying there's an extreme demand for the product. The question though is, once the product is in the hands of all the stores, not just stores that have online and pre-orders and whatever, does the market come to that? Does this game grow at a local level? Do people get involved and excited? And are there champions in their stores that pick up and sit down every Thursday night to teach people how to play? And do people fall in love with the game in that way? That is the biggest question for Sorcery. There's a lot of speculation on boxes and prices and investments and alpha and whatever. I do fully expect alpha to dip down in price as people pick up beta and the singles. The question is, does beta work, and do stores pick up and start playing events? Your local groups, are you inviting your friends over to the house to play the event? That is how this game will grow. There's really, in my opinion, that's the number one way that this game will grow is, boots on the ground, teaching people how to play. So I personally think the game is so much fun. It is, everybody I've taught has loved it and has wanted to play with other people and teach other people. And at the end of the day, that's how things spread and grow. So I think it's super fun. I think that beta print run, I think the initial supply is going to be really good. I think it's going to be awesome to be able to open up boxes at that price point of 120 to 150, maybe 160 bucks, depending on how it goes. But I think that people who are wanting this to be amazing have to do legwork too. They have to be teaching people how to play, have to be bringing this to local game stores and teaching people how to do it, because artwork will go so far, but the gameplay is what's really going to take this to the next level, in my opinion. So very interesting to see that. I think that is personally the only thing that matters for Sorcery in this year. The rest of this calendar year is beta played? Do people sit down at the tables and are they playing the game? And I think the answer to that is going to be yes. Into next year, I know we've started to see some spoilers. I haven't seen them yet, but I saw a post about it. Some spoilers for Arthurian Legends. When is that coming? It's a really big question mark for me. You know, this whole one set a year thing, I understand it. I understand both sides. I understand the questions on it. I understand the reasoning they are doing it. But when is Arthurian Legends coming out? How far do we have to wait from beta for the next set? Are we talking early Q1 where we're going to have boxes in hand in February? That doesn't seem so bad. But if it's in the middle of the year next year, that is quite a long period, especially that the set alpha beta are basically the same thing. So very, very curious to hear that stuff. Yeah, at the end of the day, the rest of the TCG industry, you're seeing a lot of things, a lot of tight-knit communities growing and up and down. Lorcana has taken a hold of a ton of those. And so it's going to be super interesting to see what plays out in the future. That's all I got for you today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we'll talk to you later. Remember, you're going to see downticks. It's going to be a slow season, in my opinion. You're going to see some extreme downticks. I think even reserveless Magic the Gathering, with all this stuff, the student loan debt, the crypto's not doing anything. You've got all these factors in here that, in my opinion, are painting a picture of a pretty slow economic winter. And so if you do have extra money to spend, this is a good time, in my opinion. This is not financial advice, but if you want those dual lands or that card or that foil from Sorcery, whatever you have that you've wanted, and as the prices come down, if Lorcana, MetaZoo, I don't care what it is, if you love the stuff, if you find joy in it, I think this is going to be a good season to get some deals on stuff. So have yourselves a great day. Be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.